Spicy ladies, let's be honest, in today's world, so much of our connection happens through our phones. Texting has become the new dance floor of modern romance. It's where flirting unfolds, attraction simmers, and emotional chemistry either sparks or fizzles out completely. And yet, so many women still feel unsure of how to navigate that space between playful and provocative. They ask, how do I keep things exciting, keep him thinking about me, but still come across as classy, empowered, and in control? Because here's the thing most people don't understand. Sexual attraction doesn't begin with the body. It begins with the mind. It starts with a glance that lingers a second too long, a message that leaves just enough unsaid, a sentence that isn't graphic, but is absolutely suggestive. And when it comes to texting, the mistake so many women make is one of two extremes. Either they keep it so safe that it feels like messaging a coworker, or they leap straight into sending something that feels disconnected from who they are, trying to force chemistry with shock value or over-the-top innuendo. But here's the truth. You don't need to be raunchy to be irresistible. You don't need to send photos you're not comfortable with. And you definitely don't need to become someone you're not just to turn a man on. The sexiest messages are the ones that stir his imagination. They make him curious. They make him feel like you're already touching him with your words. And best of all, they make him see you as a woman who owns her sensuality, not a woman who's trying to earn his validation. Because a confident woman doesn't say, please like me. She says, let me show you a side of me if you can handle it. And that's where the real power lies. So, if you ever found yourself wondering what to text a man to make his pulse quicken, if you've ever wanted to learn how to add just the right amount of spice to your conversations without losing an ounce of your elegance, this is for you. I'm about to share with you 5 naughty, playful, and wildly effective texts you can send to any man. Texts that don't scream desperate or overdone, but instead whisper, you won't stop thinking about me tonight. Because when you learn how to seduce through suggestion, when you understand how to use your energy, not just your words, you become unforgettable. Ready to discover them? Let's dive in. 1. I just had the naughtiest thought about you. At first glance, it feels so simple. But don't let that simplicity fool you. This one sentence is loaded with seductive power. Why? Because it doesn't spell anything out. It whispers instead of shouts. It taps into a man's imagination in a way that makes him instantly alert, intrigued, and deeply curious about you. You see, most people make the mistake of thinking that seduction is about what you reveal, but real seduction is about what you withhold. When you send this text, you're not giving him the whole fantasy. You're giving him the hint of one. You're planting a seed, a question. What did she think about? That will run loops in his mind for hours. And let's be honest, men love a mental puzzle, especially when the prize at the end feels intimate, sexy, and just out of reach. This message creates a gap in his imagination, and the human brain hates an unfinished story. That's why cliffhangers in movies work so well. We need to know what happens next. And when you send this text, you've just become the cliffhanger. You've turned yourself into the plot twist he can't stop thinking about. But what really makes this text so powerful is that it frames you as the one who's in control of the desire. You're not asking, do you want me? You're stating, I want you in a moment that you didn't even realize. That subtle shift where you become the one experiencing a private moment of desire completely changes the energy. You're the fantasy. You're the one who's mysterious, sensual, and fully in touch with what you want. And let me tell you, men find that irresistible. And here's another layer most people overlook. This text invites him to play without pressuring him. You're not pushing the conversation in a graphic direction. You're not putting him on the spot. You're simply dangling a piece of alluring information, like a ribbon hanging from a gift he hasn't unwrapped yet. If he's into you, he'll grab it. He'll ask, what was it? Or, now you have to tell me. And just like that, you've created an open doorway to flirtation, desire, and even intimacy, all without compromising your values or crossing any lines you're not comfortable with. This kind of message works because it balances confidence with intrigue. It makes him feel desired without being told directly what the thought was. And most importantly, it's authentic. You can tailor it to your comfort zone. The naughtiest thought could be playful, romantic, or something more sensual. It's your call. And that's the beauty of it. You hold the cards. At the end of the day, turning a man on isn't about using the loudest language. It's about being the most captivating presence. When you can spark a man's mind, his body will follow. So don't underestimate the power of what's left unsaid. Sometimes it's the silence between the words that speaks the loudest. Spicy ladies, thank you for watching. If you have same feeling, leave the spicy lady +1 comment below. That's my motivation. Let's continue. 2. If you were here right now, what do you think we'd be doing? This text is deliciously open-ended, and that's exactly why it works. It gives him a blank canvas, a subtle invitation to paint a picture of desire, curiosity, or even intimacy with you at the center of it. It's not just flirty. It's interactive. It puts the power in his hands to bring his imagination into the conversation. And let me tell you something. When a man starts imagining you with him, even hypothetically, that fantasy gets harder and harder to shake off. What makes this text even more effective is that it sounds casual, but it instantly activates the emotional and sensual parts of his brain. It doesn't come across as desperate or overtly sexual. There's nothing graphic about it. You're simply asking a question, but it's the question that opens the door to something much deeper. You're signaling that you've thought about him being with you, and that alone carries weight. It makes him feel desired. It makes him feel special. He knows you could be texting about anything. Your day, your to-do list, or that show you're watching. But instead, you've chosen to wonder about him and what the two of you might be doing if distance wasn't in the way. This is powerful because men are visual creatures. When you ask this, you trigger a mental movie. He doesn't just hear your words. He sees the moment you're inviting him into. Whether he pictures you sitting beside him on the couch, leaning in for a kiss, or teasing each other under the covers. The point is now you live in his imagination. And once you're there, you're hard to forget. But let's not overlook another subtle psychological element here. This message isn't just about desire. It's about comfort. You're creating a safe space where he can be bold without judgment. You're asking a question that says, tell me your fantasy, and I'll still respect you afterward. That's rare, and men feel that. And maybe the most underrated part. It reveals his emotional temperature. If he's excited to play along, you learn a lot about where he's at and how connected he feels. If he's hesitant or avoids answering, that tells you something, too. Either way, it's a gentle but revealing test of the chemistry and openness between you. So, when you send, if you were here right now, what do you think we'd be doing? You're doing more than just turning him on. You're creating a space for shared imagination, connection, and emotional intimacy. You're telling him, there's a space here that only you can feel. And trust me, when a man feels that, he won't be able to stop imagining how he would. 3. You have no idea what you do to me. There's something utterly magnetic about this sentence. It's soft, it's vulnerable, and yet it's dripping with sensual tension. This message doesn't shout. It hums like a whisper in the dark that sends a shiver down his spine. It's the kind of text that stops a man mid-scroll, mid-sentence, mid-anything, because it doesn't just speak to him. It pulls him into you. What makes this so powerful is what you're not saying. You're not spelling out anything explicit. You're not telling him exactly what he does to you. You're leaving that to his imagination. And that's where the magic happens. Because the truth is, men love to feel that they have an effect on the woman they desire. And not just a surface-level effect. They want to believe they touch something deep in you, that they stir something real, something physical, emotional, even uncontrollable. When you send this text, you're confirming that you're saying, there's something about you and I can't even explain it, but it moves me. And in doing so, you create a powerful emotional trigger. He feels significant. And let's go deeper. This text creates intimacy without expectation. You're revealing a raw moment of truth. It's not performative. It's not calculated. It feels spontaneous, personal, and almost involuntary. It's the kind of thing someone says when they can't help it. That's why it lands with such impact, because it doesn't feel like a move. It feels like a confession. And we all know confessions are irresistible when they come wrapped in sensual mystery. Think of it this way. There are messages that demand a reaction, and then there are messages that make someone feel. This is the second kind. It doesn't just say, I'm attracted to you. It says, you change me. You have a power over me that maybe even I wasn't expecting. And that message is seductive on a whole different level. What's also beautiful about this line is its adaptability. It can live in a playful moment, like after a flirty conversation, or it can deepen a quiet night when you've been missing him and scrolling through memories of your time together. It can be sexy, it can be soft, it can even be loving, depending on the tone you bring. And here's a little secret. You can leave this line exactly as it is, or you can follow it up with something even more subtle. Something like, and it's not just one thing, it's the way you look at me, the sound of your voice, the way I feel when I imagine your hands on me. You don't need to be graphic. You just need to be real. Because authenticity is the greatest aphrodisiac. So remember, this one line isn't about being provocative. It's about being present. Present with your desire, your emotions, your body, and your truth. When you text, you have no idea what you do to me. You're not just turning him on, you're letting him into your experience of him. And that kind of vulnerability is the kind that stays with him long after he puts his phone down. For, I dare you not to think about me tonight. This text is a beautiful little masterpiece of playful defiance. It's teasing, it's flirtatious, and it's laced with confidence and challenge, which, if you haven't noticed, men love. You're not just flirting here. You're throwing down the gauntlet in the most seductive way possible. It's as if you're saying, go on, try not to crave me. Now, let's break down what makes this one sentence so irresistible. First of all, it immediately creates tension, but it's the fun kind. You're not demanding his attention. You're not even asking for it. What you're doing is predicting that he won't be able to help himself. And right there, you've just stepped into a position of power. You've subtly told him, you're thinking about me already and I know it. This message is pure mental foreplay. It's built on suggestion rather than declaration. It doesn't scream, look at me. It smirks and then walks away. And that's exactly what makes it linger. Because when you say this, he immediately does think about you. That's the irony. He's already imagining your smile, your touch, the last time he heard your laugh, or maybe the last time things got heated between you. Whether he wants to or not, you're in his head. Mission accomplished. But here's where this message gets even more interesting. It's playfully competitive. The word dare taps into his masculine instinct to rise to a challenge. And when that challenges you, it becomes a game. He both wants to win and secretly hopes to lose. That inner battle of can I resist or versus why would I even wanna is what makes this such a mentally engaging message. You just turned your presence into a challenge and a reward at the same time. And yet, for all its cheekiness, there's something deeply sensual underneath it. You're not asking for dirty talk. You're not pushing for anything. You're simply existing in his world with a touch of audacity and self-assurance. That balance between confidence and invitation is the essence of seductive communication. Also, pay attention to timing. This text hits differently at night. Send it when you know he's winding down. When the world is quiet and distractions are fading, that's when imagination is at its most vivid, and you become the thought that slips under the door of his mind. When everything else is still, he'll read it, he'll smile, and even if he doesn't reply immediately, he'll feel a pull to you in a magnetic thread that tugs just a little tighter. The best part, you haven't revealed anything explicit. You've done it all with energy, tone, and confidence. You've made yourself a fantasy without ever describing it. So, when you send, I dare you not to think about me tonight, you're not just being naughty. You're being unforgettable because it's not about begging for attention. It's about becoming the kind of woman who naturally takes up space in his thoughts, even when he tries not to let her. 5. Tell me your favorite part of my body. I want to know what drives you wild. This one is bold. It's sensual, and yet when delivered with the right tone, it's not just sexy. It's a deep invitation into connection and vulnerability because it's not just about physicality. It's about what he sees in you, what he craves, what moves him. This text isn't graphic. It doesn't cross lines, but it does open a very specific, emotionally charged door. You're not saying, compliment me. You're saying, reveal to me what captures your attention when I'm standing in front of you. Tell me what you notice when no one's watching. That kind of request strikes right at the core of desire. It's layered with curiosity invitation, and trust. And men love to feel like they're the one who gets to unlock something personal in you. When you ask this question, you're not just saying, "Look at me." You're saying, "I trust you to tell me how I affect you." That instantly brings you closer because desire shared is desire multiplied. It becomes a moment that's not just about you being desired. It's about you both being in the dance. Now, let's look at the genius of this line. First, you're inviting him into intimacy. You're signaling that you want to hear what drives him wild, that you enjoy being his temptation, and that makes him feel not only turned on but chosen. It affirms something that men rarely get to express, what they feel when they're truly captivated by a woman. It might be the curve of your hips, the back of your neck, the way you arch your eyebrow when you're teasing. And whatever it is, it will be his answer, unique, honest, personal. Second, you're keeping your power. This message isn't about offering your body. It's about owning it. You're not fishing for compliments. You're saying, "I know I have this effect on you, and I want to explore it with you." That energy, that self-assured sensuality, is magnetic. And don't underestimate the psychological effect this has on a man when he thinks about your body, especially in the context of what part of you he wants most. He begins to associate those thoughts with real emotion. And those emotions deepen his desire, not just physically, but mentally. Because now he's no longer just attracted to a woman. He's connected to you, the woman who had the confidence to invite him into that moment of truth. The beauty of this line is also in how you deliver it. You could send it after a flirty back and forth, or even during a quiet, emotionally open moment, because it works on more than one level. It's not just about lust. It's about insight. It's about how he experiences you. What part of you does he linger on when he thinks of you alone? What moment flashes through his mind when he closes his eyes? And once he answers, you can deepen the connection even further by saying something like, "I'll remember that," or "You have no idea what that does to me." And just like that, the exchange becomes a loop of mutual seduction. You're no longer just sending a message. You're writing a shared chapter of fantasy together. So when you send, "Tell me your favorite part of my body. I want to know what drives you wild," you're not just being naughty. You're being bold, embodied, emotionally attuned, and absolutely unforgettable. Turning a man on isn't about being the loudest, the boldest, or even the most revealing. It's about being strategically mysterious. It's about creating emotional anticipation, the kind that lingers long after the message is sent. Each of these 5 texts isn't just about making him think of you. They're about making him feel you, viscerally, mentally, emotionally. Because when you stir his imagination, when you become the unanswered question in his head, you create a craving that goes beyond just physical attraction. You make him want to understand you, to unlock you, to earn the next piece of your mind, your body, your world. You are not here to beg for attention. You are not here to compete with every other woman in his inbox. You are here to stand out by being the woman who knows how to seduce without selling herself. The woman who doesn't need to be explicit, to be unforgettable. The woman who owns her effect and wields it with grace, playfulness, and power. So, here's your challenge. Pick just one of these texts. Send it when the moment feels right, when you feel connected, when you're not trying to prove anything, but simply want to spark something. Watch how he responds. Watch how he leans in. And more importantly, watch how you feel. Because this isn't about performing for someone else. It's about tapping into the part of you that already knows how magnetic you are. You don't need to chase attention. You just need to awaken the part of yourself that realizes you're the fantasy. You've got the words. Now go and light a fire. And if you want more tools like these, real, honest, and high-value ways to spark emotional and physical chemistry, make sure you stay connected. There's so much more where this came from. Now go turn him on without giving everything away. Because your power is never in what you say. It's in how you leave him wanting more. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies make life beautiful, thank you for watching and God bless.